Hi, and welcome to TeraCorp's eLearning Center. I'm going to walk you through in this lesson how to install TeraCash and configure it all for the first time. Now we're going to assume that you've already filled out the information on our website and it's sent you an email with a link to your software. Now you can run that link directly from within your email, or you can do what I've done here, which is download it to my desktop. So what we're going to do, we're just going to double click on this icon or click on it from the link in your email and choose Run. And if you don't have all the prerequisites already installed, which you probably will not if this is the first time you've installed TeraCash, we're going to be prompted with this prerequisite screen. Now in this case, we've got Microsoft.NET Framework 4.0, the SQL Server, and Crystal Reports. That has to be installed before we can continue. So there's nothing you need to do here except just click on the install button and let it do its thing. Now this is going to take a little while depending on your internet connectivity speed and the speed of your computer. This can take anywhere from the average of 10 minutes to 30 minutes. So at this point we'll go ahead and go grab a cup of coffee, take care of some phone calls or whatever we've got to do, and then we'll be back with you. Oh, just one thing to note, there is a difference during this process. You'll notice right here it's telling you what it's doing. This will start with downloading whatever it's downloading, and then when that finishes, then it starts installing. Now you're not going to know, this bar here isn't going to tell you when it's done, and this is always going to say 0 seconds remaining because that was the amount of time required for the download, not for the install. This window does not know how long the install is going to take. So don't be fooled by thinking, well, your computer's locked up or frozen or stopped responding or something like that, because once it's installing, it's no longer downloading. So all of this stuff down here, including this progress bar, isn't going to be of any help to you. Okay, now we notice on our screen that we have a dialog box telling us that TeraCash 2011 requires a reboot. You may or may not get one of these boxes. This is a fresh install of Windows 7, so we don't have any of the other prerequisite service packs or anything installed on it. So in our case, now that it's already done installing the .NET framework here, it's telling us that we need a reboot. Okay, you may have other things in this list, such as Windows Installer 4.5 or a number of different other prerequisites, and some of them might require a reboot. It might even require a reboot more than once, which is why it may be beneficial to save this setup over here to your desktop so you don't have to keep opening your email to re-click on the link if it doesn't come back up when it restarts. So we're going to go ahead and click yes to this, and we're going to reboot this computer. And make sure you click yes, because if you try to click no and bypass it, it's not going to let you finish. So we're just going to click yes to that and let this reboot happen. Okay, now we're back from our rebooted computer, and we're seeing it's already going to try to run it again. So in our case, it did automatically pop it back up. If you've got like Windows User Security or something turned on, you may not receive this. If you don't see this box after your computer comes up and finishes loading everything, then just double click on the icon here, or if you ran it from the link in your email, go back to your email and click the link to run it again. So we're going to let this run again, and now it's going to bring up the rest of the prerequisites if there's any more remaining. So we see that .NET Framework is gone off this list, but we still have 2 more in our case. You may have more, you may have fewer. Either way, we just want to click on Install again. And again, you're going to have a downloading portion, and this is the time remaining for the download. And then when this finishes, you'll have the installing portion, which again, these bottom sections here will become worthless. Okay, now that all of our prerequisites are installed and it's downloaded the 2011 version of TeraCash and started the install for that, you should be prompted with a screen that looks similar to this. Now there's really nothing to this screen. There's next buttons, and then eventually the next button will turn into a finish. You don't typically, unless you've been instructed otherwise, have to change anything. So don't worry about options or anything, just click on next. You can leave all this the same, again unless you've been instructed to do otherwise. And click on next. This can stay the same as well. Click on next and then install. And then this will actually install the TeraCash software onto your computer. Now this part usually doesn't take very long. It's already, well again, it's downloading things as needed, so depending on your internet connection speed, it could take a little bit longer than normal. So we'll just let this finish installing and we'll be back with you. Okay, now that TeraCash is finished installing, we're presented with this complete wizard. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, we're not going to start TeraCash when I close this. And we're not going to do that because I'm going to also show you how to install your drivers if you've purchased any of the hardware or you have any of the hardware to use that goes along with TeraCash. If you don't have any hardware, maybe you're just installing it as a demo, you haven't made the purchase yet, you don't have any hardware, then you can go ahead and start this. But for the sake of this particular demonstration, we're not going to do that yet. So we're just going to click on Finish. And now the first thing we want to do is we want to start installing our hardware. Now the order in which you install your hardware isn't really a relevant factor. However, we're going to just start with the check scanner. Now if you purchase a check scanner either from us or from somebody else, you may not have received a CD with a check scanner. For some reason, Magtech doesn't often send their driver CDs. So to remedy that, we've added an icon that is a quick link for you to download and install the drivers. So we're going to access that by clicking on our Windows Start menu, going to our All Programs, and then in your list you'll see TerraCorp Enterprises folder icon. You'll open that. Under that you've got TeraCash, and then under that you have links. So let's expand the links, and you'll see the first one is download Excella STX drivers. So we're going to click on that link, and that's going to open up a browser and start the download. Now if you've got user access control enabled, then you're going to want to save this to your desktop. So we're going to assume that you do, since Windows Vista and Windows 7 usually ship that way, and unless you've turned it off, yours is probably on. So we're going to click on Save, and then we're going to choose the desktop, and then we're going to click the Save button. And that'll put an icon on our desktop, which is this region of space out here. Now this is about a 17 meg file, so again, depending on how fast your internet is, it may take a little while to download. Okay, now that we've downloaded our Excella STX drivers, we're just going to double click on the icon. As a matter of fact, take that back. If you're running UAC, what you're going to want to do is right click with the right mouse button on the icon, and you're going to click Run as Administrator. So let's do it that way, assuming you have user access control turned on. If you're running Windows XP, you don't have to do this step because Windows XP does not have user access control. So we're going to run this as administrator. Now you'll probably be prompted with a box. I have UAC turned off on this machine, but you'll probably be prompted with a box requiring, it's going to say something along the lines of this requires administrative access. Do you want to allow the program to continue running? And you'll click yes or continue, whatever your options are. So once that part is done, then we're going to be prompted with this, which is this is the Magtech driver wizard. So we're just going to again click on next. We can leave all this the same, click next, leave this the same, click next, and then your driver is going to begin installing. Now if you have the STX plugged in, one of the steps you're going to see is that it's going to ask you to unplug it. So just unplug your STX if you see that. You know, I mean, by unplugging it, we're talking about unplugging the USB, not necessarily the power. So this install usually won't let you proceed unless you've unplugged the USB from your computer. So we're just going to go ahead and let this run. And then just hit finish. So now our STX driver is installed. If you purchase the STX from us, then it's already most likely pre-configured into the native USB mode. If that's the case, there's nothing more you need to do. However, if you didn't purchase it from us, or for whatever reason, yours is in a different mode, which is called the RNDIS mode, or RNDIS, then there's going to be an additional step you have to take. Now, I'm going to show you that step just for those of you who may experience that, but I'll do that in just a little bit. The next thing we want to do is install our camera drivers if you have a camera, a web camera or something set up. Now these drivers we don't provide because you can get them from Logitech if you got the camera from us. But because models are coming out, new models and new drivers are coming out all the time, we can't really provide the specific drivers. Normally though, with your camera, whether you got it from us or you got it from another provider or you got it from a store, it's going to come with a CD. So typically you just stick the CD in there and run it directly from the CD. In our case, and this for the purposes of this tutorial, we just downloaded it from Logitech, so we're just going to run that one. Now your install may look totally different, so don't look at this part as being part of the tutorial, because every camera is different, every driver installation is different. So we're just going to install it just so when we start TeraCash we'll already have all of our drivers ready to go. Now the fingerprint driver is already installed with TeraCash, so you don't have to worry about the fingerprint driver. The only two drivers you have to worry about with our standard Biometrics Professional package is your check scanner and your web camera. Now there are different types of check scanners you can have as well, such as the Mini Micker and the Micker Pro or Micker Plus, or the Excel Micker Image. Those require a different method of installation that's not going to be covered in this tutorial. If you have that scanner and you got it from us, then you may need to contact support. If you did not get it from us and you need help with installing it, you want to contact the company that you got the scanner from. Okay, so we're just going to step through this.